Namaskar. Good morning. Let us begin with a prayer from the Upanishads. This is on page 46 of Universal Prayers. The second one on that page 46. Om Vāṅ manasi pratisthita mano me vachi pratishthitam avirāvirmaedhi vedasya mahaniṣṭhā shrutam me ma prahāsīhi anena adhitena ahoratrān sandadāmi ratam vadishyāmi satyam vadishyāmi tanmāmavato tadvaktāramavato avatu mam avatu vaktāram. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. May my speech be fixed in the mind. May my mind be fixed in the speech. O self-manifested Atman, do thou manifest thyself unto me. O my mind and speech, may ye be fit to reveal unto me the highest knowledge. May I not forget what I have heard, without forgetting what I have learned. May I be able to study day and night. The right will I speak, the truth will I speak. May Brahman protect me. May Brahman protect the preceptor. May Brahman protect me. May Brahman protect the preceptor. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Peace. Peace be within us all. Peace and harmony amongst all beings. And peace be everywhere in nature. Light. Good. So far we have seen how anyone, regardless of the nature of their work, can reach perfection by performing their own work as worship in the best possible way, with devotion and detachment. Because work done that way prepares the mind, makes the mind pure, free from all blemishes such as selfishness, narrow-mindedness, greed, desire for result of work, etc. And with that pure mind, a person will acquire the ability to inquire into the nature of reality. Siddhiṃ, siddhi in that word siddhi is explained here by Shankaracharya as brahma jñānasya yogyata lakshana siddhiṃ. The verse number 46 said, Sakarmana tamabhyarchya siddhiṃ indati manavaha. By a human being, by performing all work as worship, worshipping the divine, by doing the work as worship, achieves perfection. Siddhiṃ indati. Siddhi means perfection. Perfection in what sense? There, the meaning of that word siddhi is explained as purity of mind, making the mind eligible, able to inquire into the nature of Brahman, Brahma jñānasya, inquire into Brahman. Yogyata, eligibility, preparation, ability to inquire into the nature of reality. With the mind as it is, with impurities, we cannot inquire. It will be only an exercise in words to really understand the meaning of reality, nature of Brahman. One has to have a pure mind. That's what we studied in the Upanishads. This Atman, which is present in all, remains hidden from you. Esha sarveshu bhuteshu gudaha atma. Sarveshu bhuteshu esha atma. Gudaha remains hidden in all the beings. Cannot be seen. Nidrishyate, nadrishyate. Cannot be seen by the ordinary instruments of perception, namely the unprepared mind and our physical eyes and other sense organs. But how to know Atman then? It can be seen, the Upanishad says, drishyate tu agraya buddhya, sukshmaya, sukshmadarshibhi. Drishyate, God can be seen, Atman can be experienced. Atman, it speaks in the Upanishad. Drishyate, how? Agraya buddhya. Agra means tikshna, sharp. Sharp intellect means pure intellect. In worldly sense, some people are very sharp. They are very clever. But that kind of clever sharpness of mind is not always very good or useful. They use it for immoral purposes. Not that kind of sharpness, not worldly intelligence, but pure mind. Agraya buddhya, sukshmaya buddhya. A mind that is able to perceive subtleties behind the appearance. The ordinary mind sees the appearance of things, situations, and people and things and comes to the conclusion. But a mind prepared, pure mind, can see the subtleties behind the appearance. Sukshmadarshibihi, by those who can see the subtle truth behind the gross world, by them, Atman can be experienced. Drishyate tvagraya buddhya sukshmaya sukshmadarshibihi. So how to get that purity of mind? That is explained in this section of the Gita in verse 45 or 45 and 46. There in verse 46, it is chapter 18, Bhagavan said, those people who do all their work as worship, or worship the Lord who is the source of everything and pervades everything, their minds will become pure and fit and eligible, able to inquire into the nature of reality. So karmana tamabhyarcha siddhiṃ vindati manavaha. That reality by whom everything is created, from whom everything emanated, everything has emanated, and that by which everything is pervaded. By worshipping that reality, how? Sakarmana. Jena sarvam idam tatam, by whom this whole universe is pervaded, that reality. Yathā pravrittir bhutanam yena sarvam idam tatam sakarmana tamabhyarchya siddhiṃ vindati manavaha. 1846. A human being achieves perfection, meaning purity of mind, which will then be able to inquire into the nature of reality. Brahma jñānasya can be done. Now, that was what we studied last time. The next step is, when a person achieves that purity of mind, then what else one has to do in order to know the reality, in order to gain self-knowledge, Brahma jnana. The purity of mind is a preparation. Mind is prepared, becomes pure from all all blemishes such as narrow-mindedness, greed, desire for result of work, etc. And then that's the preparatory step. How that is accomplished? By doing our own work as worship. Sakarmana tamabhyarcha. That's the easiest way. You don't have to change our work. Whatever work is ours has come to our lot. According to Swadharma, by Swadharma, that work has to be done as worship, regardless of the nature of work. So this we know from the Dharmavyada story in the Swamiji's Karma Yoga lectures. One lecture that he gave is, each is great in his own place. There, Swamiji briefly explains how every person, regardless of the status or stage in life or ashrama, can reach the highest perfection by doing one's own duty as worship. This is illustrated in the Mahabharata by the Dharmavyada story, the story of the young monk who went to the forest renouncing everything to realize God, meditated and got some powers. The story is familiar to you from Swamiji's Karma Yoga lectures. The detailed version of the story comes in the Mahabharata. The housewife, he goes to a household for begging for food, and that lady says, "Please wait. I'm serving my husband. I'll come and give you diksha, food. I'm serving my husband. Just wait for a second." The sannyasi became impatient because he wanted to be served first, because he is a monk. That feeling of pride was there in his mind. And she says, still within the house, she didn't come out and talk to him. She says, "So sannyasi, be patient, don't be impatient. I'm not the bird in the forest." Before the sannyasi went for begging for food, he was sitting and meditating under a tree, and some two birds were making a lot of noise and fighting. Their feathers fell on his head, and he became disturbed, angry, and cursed the birds, and the birds died. How did she know about that one, the event that happened in the forest? The sannyasi wanted to know, how did you get that knowledge? So when she comes out and gives her bhiksha, food, gives him bhiksha, sannyasi asks her, "Mother, how did you know about the birds?" She said, "See, I'm an ordinary mother, housewife, cooking, cleaning, serving my husband and family and children. I don't know anything. If you want to know, you go to the butcher, meat seller in this town." She directs him to a yathā, meat seller. Sannyasi became surprised. How can the meat seller tell me? And then he goes to the meat seller shop. As he's approaching the shop, the meat seller asks, "Oh, sannyasi, please come. Did the lady send you here?" Sannyasi was astonished. How did this butcher, meat selling person knew? How did he know about the lady who sent me here? So he waits patiently. The meat seller serves all the customers, takes the sannyasi home, serves his parents, and gives the sannyasi food. And then sannyasi asks him the question, "How did you know about the lady that sent me here to you?" And the sannyasi and the meat cutter, Yada explains, "Sir, I don't have any knowledge of scriptures or anything. I just do my work which has come to me. This profession of selling meat, there's nothing attractive about it, disagreeable kind of work, but that's the work I have to do, my swadharma. I'm doing it in the best possible way. And that's how I lead my life." So the gist of the story is the mother was cooking, cleaning, and serving her family. and the meat cutter who was selling meat for a livelihood, serving his parents. They were doing their own work as worship. So karmana tamabhyarcha, 1846. They were doing their work, which was not attractive. What is attractive about the household chores daily, day in and day after, cooking, cleaning, serving, washing clothes, cleaning the place? And there is nothing attractive about selling the meat, disagreeable work. But it did not matter. It does not matter what kind of work a person is doing. If they do their swadharma as worship, that will prepare the mind, bring purity of mind, and with the purity of mind, one can achieve all the devotion, everything. That's what the housewife did and the meat cutter did. So the story illustrates this one. Swe swe karmani abhirataha yathā vindati tachrunu siddhiṃ. Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, each person engaging oneself in one's own karma, doing it as worship, can achieve perfection regardless of the nature of work. Now that is the preparation. Doing our work as worship and preparing the mind becomes pure, and then mind is ready for brahma jñānasya yogyata lakshana siddhi. Inquiry into the nature of reality. Mind becomes ready. With an impure mind, one cannot know the truth. So the preparatory step has been explained in 1846. Now that is preparation. Now what else has to be done to acquire self-knowledge, brahma jnana? Several steps, things have to be done. Those are explained in verses 50 to 55, 56, 5-6 verses. After acquiring purity of mind by doing one's own work as worship, what other disciplines have to be done to acquire self-knowledge, brahma jnana? So that's what we are going to study now in verse number 50 onwards. So verse number 50. siddhiṃ prāpto yathā brahma tathāpnoti nibodha me samāsenaiva kaunteya niṣṭhā jñānasya ya parā. Arjuna, siddhiṃ prāptaha. Siddhi means purity of mind. The person achieving purity of mind by doing one's own work as worship, as explained before, siddhiṃ prāptaha yathā brahma āpnoti. How a person can achieve brahma, self-knowledge. That I am going to explain briefly. Samāsenaiva. Briefly, I am going to explain how a person equipped with purity of mind, pure mind, acquired by doing one's own work as worship, how such a person can achieve self-knowledge, brahma jnana. Yathā brahma prāpnoti. How can you achieve Brahman? Samāsenaiva kaunteya. Arjuna, I'm going to explain this briefly to you. Main steps. Not all details are not given. Main important steps should be done after preparing the mind are going to be explained here. What is that Brahma? Jñānasya parā niṣṭhā. Supreme culmination of self-knowledge is Brahman, Samma Jnana, experiencing oneself with one's identity with the divine. This is not knowledge of objective or like apara vidya, knowledge of something else other than the self. That's what we are familiar with, apara vidya. But this knowledge of the self, that can be acquired by preparing the mind. And that preparation of mind is done by karma yoga, doing all work as worship. That's the topic here. So next step is, what are the things to be done by such a person with a prepared mind to achieve self-knowledge, Brahma, yathāpnoti. That is verse number 50. Now 51 onwards, several steps are explained. All these steps, spiritual practices have come before in different contexts. So they are brought here together. 51. There Bhagavan says, buddhya vishuddhaya yukto dhrityatmanam niyamya ca shabdadin vishayan tyaktva pragadveshau yudasya ca. Doing several things. What are they? Vishuddhaya buddhya yuktaha, equipped with a pure mind, acquired by doing all work as worship. With that preparation, Vishuddhaya buddhya yuktaha, a person with that pure mind, what else has he or she to do for Brahmajnana? Atmanam dhritya niyamya. The word Atman has different meanings depending on the context. Here, Atma means body, mind, and sense organs. Atmanam karyakarana sanghatam. The group of sense organs, mind, and body. They have to be purified. How? Dhritya, with firm resolution. Dhritya atmanam niyamya, controlling the tendency of sense organs. The sense organs have a natural tendency to go out and seek contact with sense objects, hoping that such contact will bring pleasure. That's the nature of all sense organs. They are made like that. In the Kathopanishad, there is a famous verse which says that sense organs are naturally made in such a way, by the creator, created in such a way that they go out and seek contact with sense objects. Their tendency, rather than focusing attention on the self within to know the divine presence within, they go outside in the opposite direction. Tasmat parāṃ pashyati. Therefore, a person sees the outside world. We are very familiar with everything, what other people are doing, what is happening in other parts of the world, in other countries. We get information instantly now, in real time. And also, we know how many galaxies are there, distant galaxies, thousands of light years away. You can get their pictures on our computer screen. All those things a person can acquire, that kind of knowledge of the outside world. But knowledge of the self, that's a wholly different story. Tasmat parāṃ pashyati. A person sees outside world, parak. Na antaratman, does not see the Atman, self inside, God within. We don't know. We are unaware of that one, of the divine presence within us. You are aware of everything in the outside world. Celebrity gossip, politics gossip, sports trivia, all those things people are, they acquire, that kind of knowledge. But knowledge of the self is a different story. How to do that one? How to acquire knowledge of the self? A person has to, with the prepared mind, a person has to reverse the direction of the mind and focus attention on the self within, withdrawing the mind from the outside world, mind and sense organ from the outside world. That has to be done. That is what is meant by here, dhritya atmanam niyamya, controlling the sense organs, body and the mind. Sense organs in the mind have tendency to go out, directing their attention inwards rather than outside. Avritya chakshuhu amritatvam icchan kaschidhiraha pratyagatmanamayikshat, Upanishad says. Kaschidhira, a rare person, it takes a rare person. Most people are not interested. They are interested in the world. Worldly pursuits, property, money, enjoyment, pleasure, etc. Kaschidhira, a rare person who can think clearly, got the strength. Pratyagatmanamayikshat, succeeds in seeing the self within him. How does he or she do that one? Avritya chakshuhu, by reversing the direction of the mind and sense organs. directing them inwards rather than their tendency to go outwards, letting them go outwards. Then we can see the Atma. That is, we have to control the mind and sense organs. That is Dhritya with resolution, firm resolution, we have to do that one. A mild attempt will not do. It's not easy to control the mind and sense organs if you have a mild desire to do that one. With firm resolution, Dhriti, one has to do that one. That is first thing, controlling mind, sense organs. With the prepared mind, it can be done. Then second requirement, you are doing sloka number 51. Shabdadin Vishayam Styaktva. Vishaya means all sense objects. We have 5 kinds of sense objects. Things that we see with our eyes, things that we hear with our ears, things that we smell with our nose, things that we taste with our tongue, and things that we touch with our skin. 5 sense organs. 5 jnanendriyas, 5 kinds of sense objects. Shabda adin vishayan tyaktva, giving up attachment to them. Second requirement. Then raga dvesha vyudasya cha. Raga means attachment. Dvesha means revulsion, hatred, strong dislike. Vyudasya, giving up. We are generally guided by our likes and dislikes, other than by what is right and wrong. In our actions, in our thinking, in our speech and actions, we do what we like to do. Whether that is the right thing to do or say or see is not the main consideration. I like to do it, so I do it. Is it good for me? That has to be inquired into. Shreyas versus prayas, as Yama said to Nachiketa and the Kathopanishad. What is good versus what is pleasant. So keeping aside our likes and dislikes, we should direct our mind, sense organs, and the body in the right direction. Raga, dvesha, vyudasya cha. That's all 51. So many steps to be done. 52, continuous the steps. More things to be done. Vivekta sevi lagvashi yathā manasaha dhyana yoga parā nityam vairagyam samapāshritaha. 51. 52 sloka. Vivekta sevi. The sevi means one who resorts to solitary places. All these have come before. Ekaki rasistitaha, one has to meditate in chapter 6, etc. We saw. 13th chapter also Vivekta sevi came. A person has to resort to solitary places to inquire into the nature of reality. If a person is surrounded by all kinds of distractions, other people's activities and things going on, then it's not possible to fix the mind on the self. It goes outside. So, as Sri Ramakrishna often said, one has to go into solitude as often as possible and pray in solitude, meditate in solitude. Vivekta sevi lagvashi. Lagvashi means a person who eats light food, lagu. If a person who eats heavy food, fills the stomach, then with that full stomach one feels sleepy, inactive, nothing can be done. Not even ordinary work can be done with a full stomach and a sleepy mind, let alone meditation and Vedanta study. Lagvashi, one has to take moderate amount of food. This came earlier in chapter 6. About food, one has to practice moderation. In chapter 6, there are 2 slokas, 16, 17, where Bhagavan Sri Krishna said, in work, in food, in play, relaxation, one has to practice moderation. There Bhagavan Sri Krishna said, chapter 6, let's see, remember that one. I'll give the number. Which number? 16. Nati na atiyatnatastu yogosti nachaikantamanashnataha yachati swapnashilasya swapnaiva jagrato naiva charjuna. For a person who does not eat very heavy food, na ati ashnataha. Ati ashnataha means a person who eats much food, more than required. Na ati ashnataha, person who eats moderate amount of food, not too little, not too more, not too much. Na ati ashnatastu. For a person who does not eat moderate amount of food, na ati ashnatastu. Nachaikantam anashnataha. Person who does not eat enough food at all. Anashnataha. Fasting. For such a person, yoga cannot be possible. Yachati swapnashilasya. A person who sleeps too much. Jagrato naiva. Person who does not sleep enough. In food and sleep, one has to be moderate. Eating too much food or too little food, sleeping too much sleeping and not enough sleep, those are not good. Moderation is necessary. So that we studied in chapter 6. Lagvashi, coming back to 52, verse 52 in chapter 18. Person who eats light food, moderate amount of food. Yathā vakkāya mānasaha. This came before. Yathā vakkāya mānasaha. Vak means speech. Kaya means body. Manas means mind. Yathā, controlled. With a person has controlled body, mind, and speech. These are the three instruments, precious instruments we have to do anything. Speech, body, speech, and mind. These have to be controlled, kept in good condition. So in the 17th chapter, we studied 3 sets of austerities to be practiced by all, especially spiritual seekers, to prepare the body, speech, and mind for devotion and self-knowledge. So there were three slokas in chapter 17, 14, 15, 16. 17:14 describes 5 disciplines of the body. Devadvijaguru prajna pojanam shaucha marjavam brahmacharyam ahimsata shariram tapochate. Shariram tapa means bodily austerities. They have to be done. To keep the body, mind, three instruments we have taken in good condition, so that we can inquire into the nature of reality. If the body is not pure, if the mind is not pure, speech is not correct, then our sadhana will not be successful. 17:15 explained 5 disciplines of speech. Anudvegakaram vakyam satyam priyahitam chayat swadhyaya vyasanam chaiva vāmayam tapa uchate. Vāmayam tapa means speech austerity is 5. Then in next sloka 17:16, Bhagavan explained 5 disciplines to keep the mind in good condition. Mana prasadaha, saumyatvam, maunam, silence, atmavinigraha, bhavasam siddhiṃ, iti yatat tapo manasam uchyate. Manasam tapa. So those we have to be done. That's what he's referring to in sloka 52 here. Yathā vakkāya mānasaha. Controlling vak, speech, kaya, body, and manas, mind. These 3 instruments have to be in good condition, disciplined. If the mind is allowed to think all kinds of thoughts, a person speaks all kinds of things and does all kinds of things, then such a person cannot achieve anything, let alone self-knowledge. Yathā vakkāya mānasaha dhyāna yoga parā nityam. Dhyana yoga parā means engaged in meditation on the self, always. Nityam, regularly. Dhyana yoga. The whole chapter 6 was on dhyana yoga. So practicing meditation on the self. regularly. Nityam vairagyam samapāshritaha, practicing renunciation. Vairagya, whole Gita is about vairagya, detachment, giving up sangha, attachment to everything, to karma, karma phala, to our possessions, property, to people, place where we stay or work, and nature of work. We become attached to all these things. So, person should practice detachment, vairagyam, so internally. Sri Ramakrishna has explained for householders, the external vairagya is internal vairagya is necessary. Mentally, one has to detach oneself from attachment to possession, property, people, work, etc. Mentally, inward detachment. But outwardly, they can keep these things. They need things to run a family. They need a place to stay, some money to pay the bills and clothes and everything needed. They can keep those things, but inwardly practicing detachment, that is essential for householders. For monks, renounce everything, both inward and outward renunciation is essential. We should not keep things for a monk, no possessions or minimum possessions. Nothing more than the most basic essential needs should be kept. That is detachment. An internal detachment is essential. Vairagyam samapāshritaha 52. So more disciplines are added here. All these things have to be done for acquiring purity of mind. With an impure mind, we do all these things mechanically, nothing will work. Mind has to be ready and pure for these disciplines to be successful. Then more things to be done in 53. All this after acquiring purity of mind by doing all work as worship. 53. Ahankaram balam darpam kamam krodam parigraham vimucha nirmama shanto brahma bhuyaya kalpate. A person becomes eligible, able to achieve Brahman, self-knowledge, brahma bhuyaya kalpate, becomes fit to acquire the status of Brahman, become one with Brahman. Only when all these things are done after acquiring purity of mind. What are they? Ahankaram, balam, darpam, kamam, krodam, parigraham, vimuchya. Vimuchya means giving up. Giving up all these things, ahankaram, egoism. All these things have come before in different chapters. Egoism means the strong feeling that I am this person, different from everybody else and everything else, and I have this and this and these properties, and I'm such great virtues and knowledge and money, everything I have. I. Egoism. That has to be minimized and eventually given up. Amkaram imachya. Instead, we should say, not I, but thou. The devotee says to God, I'm not the doer, you are the doer. I'm not the owner, you are the owner. All these things are yours, not mine. Not mine, not I. That is how to give up attachment to things, possessions, name and fame, etc. Amkaram vimuchya, giving up. Balam. Balam here means brute strength. Shakti balam is necessary not only for successful, meaningful worldly life, mental power, physical power, moral power are necessary, especially for spiritual progress. But that strength must be, as explained in the earlier chapter, chapter 7, it must be free from kama raga, attachment and desire. If there is a strength, person is very strong, but he has uncontrolled kama, desire, raga, attachment, krodha, then that desire, that Strength is destructive. It causes trouble to other people and to oneself. That kind of strength, which is not free from desire, attachment, etc., that's not good. But that kind of strength has to be given up. But strength which is free from these blemishes, kamarad vivarjitam balam, that strength is necessary, that is good. Strength that is free from attachment, anger, and desire, etc. That is necessary. Otherwise, ordinary strength, brute strength should be given up. Vimuchya, darpam. Darpam means pride. I'm such a great person. I have so much knowledge. I have so much property. I'm a genius. Like that, some people claim. That is pride. Really, a good person having all these things will not claim, will not brag about his possessions and virtues. But a person who does not have this, that have these things, are a tendency to brag about these things. Unnecessary pride. That darpa has to be given up. Kamam, krodham, parigraham, vimuchya. Kama means uncontrolled desire. Certain desires are good. They have to be cherished and pursued. Desire to become a better person, the desire to help other people, to desire to see God, to gain knowledge of the self. Those are good desires. They have to be pursued. But other desires for enjoyment, for name and fame and pleasure, those are to be given up. Kamam, krodham. In the earlier chapter, Bhagavan said, Dharma viruddho bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava. Among the beings and all the beings, dharma, which is not desire, kama, which is not opposed to dharma, dharma aviruddha, not opposed to dharma, dharmic desire. Dharma viruddho bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava. That desire is good. Kamam, other ordinary uncontrolled desire for enjoyment, selfish pleasure should be given up. Parityaja vimuchya, krodham, anger has to be given up. The greatest enemy, one of the greatest enemies of man are three things. Kama, krodha, lobha. That we studied in chapter 16. There are three gateways, Bhagavan Sri Krishna says in chapter 16, that lead us to place of suffering. Trividam narakasyedam dwaram nasanamatmanaha. What are they? Narakasya trividam dwaram, three gateways to hell. That means suffering. What are they? Kamaha, krodhaha, tatha lobhaha. Kama means uncontrolled adharmic desire. Krodha means anger. Lobha means greed. These three are great enemies, opening gateway to suffering. Kiviridam naraka sedam dwaram. Nasanam atmana, destroy the self. And other people also. So they have to be given up. Tasmad etatrayam tyajayit. One has to give these three things. So those are mentioned here. Kamam, krodham, parigraham. Parigraha means a tendency to acquire things and store things beyond one's basic need. That tendency is parigraha, accumulating things. Hoping that more possession will bring more happiness. That is not true. That's what some people believe. If I have more money, I'll be very happy. Greater the amount of money, greater the happiness. That's not true. It's only true up to a certain point. Money is necessary, essential. Once enough money is acquired to meet the basic needs, then any extra money will not necessarily bring extra happiness. It may bring headache. So that greed for things, for possession, that has to be given up. Keeping only bare minimum things. Aparigraha means not accepting things even if they come free, if they are not necessary. Vimucha, giving up all these things. Giving up ahankara, egoism, balam, brute strength, darpam, pride, kamam, uncontrolled desire, adharmic desire, krodham, anger, parigraham, tendency to acquire, store things. Vimucha, giving up all these things. Nirmama Shanto Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. Nirmama means not mine. The moment I say something is mine, then I'm already binding myself. Attachment has come. The notion of possession that I have these things, this is mine, it's not good for a spiritual seeker. Not mine, but thine, O Lord. That's how one should think. But householders can have to keep things, they have to call them mine, my house, my child, my property, they can say, but inwardly they should know that none of them belongs to them. They all belong to God. Sri Ramakrishna explains how this has to be done. A person keep the necessary things, but should give up the notion that they are mine. Mamatva means mine. How to do that one? He gives example of a maid servant working in the household of a big householder, rich person, as a domestic help. That lady lives in the quarters given by the owner of the house in a small room outside. She lives there and she works in the house, big house of the rich man, takes care of his children, does the cooking, cleaning, everything in that. So that lady refers to all those are as her. My Rama, my Hari, my garden, my kitchen, my room, etc. She will say, referring to the master's children. But she knows they are not hers. In conversation, she says like that, my Rama, my Hari, my work, my garden, my kitchen, etc. But she knows that none of them belong to her. None of them belongs to her. That kind of inward detachment, knowing that nothing is mine. Namama, there's not one thing that I can call mine in this whole world. Some people put the label mine on everything, including some other people's property. They call it mine. That's the biggest mistake one can do. Nirmama bhutva, rashi bhutva. In shloka number, in the second chapter, Bhagavan Shri Krishna said, perform all your duties free from tension. Yugata jvaraha. Nirmama bhutva, nirashi bhutva. Free from mamatva, mine notion. Free from expectation of benefit from one's own work. That's how we have to work. Sri Krishna had said earlier. So nirmama, not mine. A devotee says, nothing is mine, everything is God's. Not mine, but thine, O Lord. All the property which I call mine are only yours, O Lord. But for conversation, I can say my property, my child, my money, my house, I can say in space. Otherwise, how do we refer to them? But in my mind, I should know none of these things belong to me. It's all the Lord's. That's nirmamatva, internal practice of not mine. Nirmamo bhutva. Shantaha. Always remaining peaceful in spite of disturbing situation, circumstances. Something always happens in life that shake our equilibrium, that make us unhappy, disturb our minds. Somebody says something or does something or some other things happen, some problem comes and people are unhappy. Their mind is disturbed. But in spite of all such inevitable disturbances in life, one has to practice remaining calmness. Shanto bhutva. Such a person who does all these things. See how many things are listed in the last three shlokas. When a person does all these things, then what happens? Such a person Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. We are doing 53, 1853. Person becomes fit, eligible for status of Brahman. So to become eligible, able to enjoy the status of Brahman, become one with Brahman, what one has to do after acquiring purity of mind? 51, 52, 53. Vidya Vishuddhaya Yukto Trityatmanam Niyamyacha, firmly controlling the body, mind, and sense organs. Shabda Adin Vishayan Stektva, giving up attachment to all sense objects, such as objects of hearing, etc. Raga Dvesha Vidasya, giving up attachment and aversion, Raga Dvesha, doing what is right. Vivekta Sevi, resorting to solitary places, solitude. Lagvashi, eating very light food, not too much, not too little. Yathā kaya manasaha, controlling speech, body and mind. What? Kaya manas. Dhyana yoga paro nityam, always engaged in meditation on the self. Vairagyam samapasthitaha, practicing renunciation, both internal and external. For sannyasis, internal for householders. Vairagyam. Then ahankaram, balam, darpam, kamam, krodham, parigraham, vimuchya, giving up all these things. Egoism, ahankaram, balam, brute strength, darpam, pride, kamam, uncontrolled desire, adharmic kama, krodham, anger, parigraham, tendency to acquire and hoard things. Vimuchya, giving up all these things. Nirmamaha, giving up attachment to things, not mine. Mine means bondage, limitation, not mine. We can say mine in conversation, but we should know nothing is mine. I can refer to this as my book, I can refer to the room as my room, but they are not mine. We should know that one. Nirmamo bhutva shantaha, keeping the mind tranquil in spite of disturbing situations. Such a person, Brahma bhuyaya kalpate, becomes fit for experiencing oneness with Brahman, for Brahma Jnana, self-knowledge. That is 53. And more things are there. Then what happens? Once a person experiences oneness with the divine, Brahma Bhoya, then what happens? Explained in 54 onwards. But let us read 54, we'll do it next time. Brahmabhuta prasannatma nyashocati na kankshati samasarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktim labate param. When a person practices these disciplines mentioned in the 3 previous shlokas, after acquiring purity of mind, such a person becomes absolutely calm and peaceful. Nothing bothers such a person. Nasochati, no sorrow, no matter what happens. The kankshati, no desire, fulfilled in one's own self. The first sign of a sthita prajna is atmanyevatmana tushtaha. Sloka 55 in chapter 2. When Arjuna asks Sri Krishna, what are the signs of a sthita prajna? Sthita prajna saka bhasha. Then in next sloka 55 in chapter 2, Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, describing the qualities of a sthita prajna. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmanyevatmana tushtaha sthita prajnastadochyate. Atmanyevatmana tushtaha. Finding contentment and joy within one's own self. That means not depending upon external property, possessions, frame, body, pleasure, etc. for happiness. That kind of happiness is temporary and mixed and will go away. And sometimes painful. Not that kind of happiness. Atmaniva atmanatushta. Being content with the self, within one's own self. Not depending upon happiness for for happiness on outside objects, property, money, possessions, relationships, family, children, power. In these things, if a person finds happiness, that is not true happiness at all. They may give happiness for a short time, then they will go away, and there's no true happiness there. True happiness comes only from the self within. That such a person, Brahma bhūyāya kalpate, such a person, the kaunteya, no desire for such a person. No desire. Fulfilled within oneself. No external thing is required. Money is not required, property is not required, fame is not required for happiness. Happiness comes from within. Fountain of infinite joy is within us, all of us. That we don't know. Not knowing that the fountain of eternal infinite joy, ananda, is within us, we reach out for small things outside. Diamond is hidden here. We don't know that one, but you reach out for some colored glass outside. Pieces of colored glass. That's what ordinary person does. Infinite joy is within oneself. Not knowing that one, a person seeks happiness in the small things outside. A little bit of fame here, some pleasure there, some property here. In these things, a person finds happiness where they cannot be found. So all this we studied in chapter 5, shloka 22. There, Bhagavan Sri Krishna, 522, clearly explains the limitations of worldly happiness that things bring, outside things bring happiness. Very limited. It's only happiness, a little bit pleasure now and then come, but not true happiness. 522. Yahi samsparshaja bhoga dukkhayo naya evate adyantavantah kaunteya nateshu ramate buddhaha. Samsparshaja bhoga. Happiness coming from contact with sense objects. Sparsha means contact with sense objects. Such a happiness, that is not happiness at all. Some dukkha yonaya, they will cause only dukkha, unhappiness at the end. When they come, they seem to bring happiness. When they leave, more unhappiness will come, more pain will come. Adyantavantaha, they have beginning and an end. Nothing is permanent, nothing is long lasting. All kinds of happiness that comes from outside world, from property, money, body, possessions, pleasure, etc., they're short-lived. They have beginning and an end. Nateshu ramate buddhaha, in those kinds of happiness, that kind of happiness, a wise person, Buddha, a person endowed with wisdom, naramate, does not take any delight. Instead, such a person seeks happiness in the self within, where the fountain of eternal infinite ananda is present within us inherently in all, in everyone, without exception. It is there. But most people do not know that one. They are only familiar with outside objects, a little pleasure that comes from property, possessions, money, fame, etc. That's what they look for. No. One has to look for happiness within. Atmaniva atmana tushtaha. Chitta prajna does that one. Chitta prajna may or may not have any property, possessions, anything, still will be filled with joy from within. It comes from within oneself. That's where we should find happiness. The kaunteya, for such a person who has found happiness within, no desire for external things. That is the status one acquires when a person achieves oneness with Brahman. Samasarveshu bhuteshu. This has come before several times. Equanimous, same-sighted towards all beings, sarveshu bhuteshu. Seeing the same divine in all. 518. Vidyavane sampanne brahmane gavihastini shunichaiva shapakecha pandita samadarshinaha. Panditas, knowledgeable people, are those who have samadarshitva, same-sightedness. They look upon everybody alike, seeing the divine presence in all. That ability, samadarshitva, will come when a person acquires self-knowledge. Brahma bhūyāya kalpate. So we'll stop here and continue at 54 onwards next time. So I shall say the closing prayer. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. May all be happy. May all be free from afflictions. May all realize what is noble and dharmic. May no one be subject to misery. Om peace. May there be peace and joy in our hearts. Adhyatmika Shanti. May there be peace and harmony amongst all beings. Adi Bhautika Shanti. And may there be peace everywhere in nature. Adi Daivika Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat Sarvam Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Thank you all of you. Stay well and God willing, see you next week.